It's time for Tuesday's update. We're going to be looking at the market madness. We're going to be having a brief overview of our recent trades, the setups we had yesterday, see how they performed, whether they were successful or not, see whether we had our confirmations. And we're also going to look at the global perspective for Bitcoin and where we see Bitcoin going in the future. We're going to talk about all possibilities and plan for our week ahead. So let's get straight into it. As of yesterday, what were we looking at? Well, we had a few different ideas yesterday, but the big one was the fact that we said, are we breaking all-time highs? Well, we had an all-time high level here coming at around 69,253, and at this point, we were rising up at about Monday 2:30. This was posted, and we said, well, we're looking at that exact level, the all-time high level for a short trade, all right, because there was lots of liquidity there to be grabbed from our previous all-time high. We said we're also looking at this old range, which was confluent with our value area high for a potential long scalp in the case we're continuing on. So let's see what transpired. Well, we were Monday 2:30. If we look at the bar replay tool, if we go back to Monday 2:30, that takes us right around here. Okay, so this is exactly where we were. All right, let's just see how this transpired. Let's see how we might have been able to enter this trade and how we could have played this one. So we're on the 15-minute at the moment. We can see that we've got a clear uptrend, printing higher highs and higher lows. We had this crazy zigzag effect over here, which I'm sure would have tricked a lot of people. A lot of people would have got trapped here thinking we had a breaker structure on the lower time frame, but it was quickly recovered and the upward trend continued. So right now we're at about here. So we're going to play and see what transpired. So again, we have another leg up. We have a high low, high high. That takes us up there. And we are nearing this level. And what do I preach on this channel religiously? What do I preach all the time? I always say, when trading, it's not nearly as advisable to enter on your first entry. If you have a very sharp uptrend, the chances that you're gonna time the top or predict the top and get that top trade, is slim. So what do we always do here? We wait for that second entry. We let the first entry set, we let it set pace, and then we look to enter on the pump fake of the second entry. Now, what does that look like? Well, let's say we had our level, we had our POI, and we had price coming up to our level. What we do is we let it set that first high. It may potentially tap our level, wick our level. We let it retrace. We do not enter on this first high, Not saying it doesn't work, it does work, but it's a higher probability. Waiting for the second entry has a higher predicted probability. So what we do is we wait for the second entry, and then we look to see if there is an SFP at the top or a pump fake, to enter there, followed by a change in structure, and then we mark that down. That's how we look to play these markets. So we would be looking to enter a short trade right around here, okay, and we would write that down. Now let's see what happened with Bitcoin. So of course, what we've got here is we've got our high point. Now at this point, what I was doing is I was looking and seeing, right, we're close to our all-time highs. What are the chances that we're just going to stop here and melt all the way down? It's quite unlikely. There's a lot of liquidity over here that we could just grab, and that liquidity dates all the way back. If we look at the monthly, it dates all the way back to this November 1st, 2021. Okay, so there are stop losses over here, stop losses over there that we can easily grab and use it as a fuel to go down. So let's see what happens. Now we're going to go back to our area of interest, and what we've essentially done is we have printed a first top. Okay, so what I would do at this point is I would watch price play out. Now we've had a sharp move down, and this sharp move down, I'm sure a lot of you would have thought, bugger, I should have got in. I've missed it. It's not touching the all-time high. It's gonna fall down here, and I've missed the short trade of a lifetime. But what happens after? If we play to see what happens, well, we mark down, we wick all the way down, and the thing here that was quite encouraging is we did not get a breaking structure. As we can see from this horizontal line, this is a wick. And when we have a wick, what does it suggest? It suggests that we're going to get a rotation all the way back to the top. All right. So now let's see what transpired. Let's see when we set our range. So now we continue to mark up, and we can see that we're marking up in this beautiful trend line. We're building liquidity on the way up, which is a very encouraging sign. This is telling us that, well, these liquidity levels, these stop losses, may be getting set up in order to get a run later on. So what we can see here now is we have officially developed a range. Okay, so this is a range. We have our range high, we have our range low. All right, so what am I looking out for here? Right now I'm looking out to see what's going to happen at this range high. What's going to happen at this range high? Are we going to break above it? Are we going to SFB it? And am I going to get my confirmations? What are my confirmations? What did we say we're looking out for? Well, let's take a quick look. Confirmations were as follows. So we're looking for fundamental shift in market structure. We're looking to go from printing higher highs and higher lows to lower highs and lower lows. And remember, at the end of the last video I said, make sure you're using your own confirmations. If you're happier using Market Cipher, using the bearish divergence, use that. If you're using RSI, use that. Whatever floats your boat. So let's see what transpired. So as we mark up, we completely flush that level, but something very interesting happens. Now what happens? We can see that this is our high. First of all, we do not break above the high. Okay, we don't close above the high. We take the all-time high, which is amazing. So we've grabbed that liquidity from 2021. All right, so we do have a case for further downward action. And not just that, we've also set this trend line, right, that we can look to see whether it breaks. Now, what's the confirmation to enter? We don't yet have our confirmation to enter, do we? Our confirmation number one would be, actually for me, breaking this trend line, closing below this trend line. Confirmation number two would be Market Cipher printing a bearish divergence. And what can we see happening over here? We have our bearish divergence. As price is going up, we've got our momentum waves coming down. And this is a very bearish indication. Look how steep that decline was. That was a sharp, piercing downward gradient, which suggests that there is more downward action to come. So let's see what happens as we go along. Are we going to get, that break in that trend line? And are we going to get our classic break in market structure? Now, where are we looking for that break? I'm looking on that decisional leg, which is this leg over here. We're going to trace out the market structure on the way up. And we're going to say, well, if this is our last higher low, this is the level that needs to go in order to get that change in market structure. Now let's draw that out and let's see whether that's going to be taken. Well, it just so happens that's also very close to this trend line. So if it does get taken, it gets taken together. And look at that. So we pierce straight through. We get a slight retest, of that trend line, as we usually do. Remember, whenever we break trend lines, we usually get a retest. And we officially break market structure bearish. All right. Now, this was a tricky one to get into. Why? Because of that aggressive markdown from taking that high. That was quite aggressive. Not many traders would have actually managed to get that. And by the time you're looking for the retest, let's see if we even get a retest. I'm going to change that to speed 3 so we can see it. There we go. We don't really get a crazy retest. We get a slight retest over here, which you could have entered perhaps on the 5 minute. If you were looking at the 5 minute, you would have been able to enter a short from that retest of that trend line. Perhaps some of you enter that. Now, other than that, it would have been quite tough to get a trade with a decent risk to reward. Now, how did I enter that trade? I actually entered that trade, and I am currently still in that trade. And I entered that trade on MEXC, and at the moment it's up 380%. So as you can see, my entry price was $68,050. So it was quite a good entry. Let's see if we can find exactly where that was, and just pop it on the chart over here. And I'm going to tell you exactly how I entered that trade. So if we put a short 68.50, that would be right around here. So crazy entry. And the only reason I entered that trade, at that level, was I purely went off of Market Cipher. Market Cipher showed me that bearish divergence. I said, well, we're at the all-time high. What are the chances we're not going to reject from there? It's pretty slim. So I entered that trade, and I am still in that trade. And I've obviously moved my stop loss to entry. So right now I'm playing with house money. I am playing with money that is not mine. All right. So it's a profitable trade regardless. Even if I get, stopped out, I am in profit. All right. So what happens next? So next we continue to mark down. We've broken that trend line. We have a retest of that break. All right. And now we are officially in local bearish structure. What do I mean by that? If we look on the 15, we can see that we are no longer printing higher highs and higher lows. We are now printing lower highs and lower lows. So this is what our structure looks like at the moment. All right. So here we have it. Now, is this the turning point? Let's talk about that. Let's get a global perspective of what Bitcoin has done so far. If we go on a monthly, as we've been talking about for quite some time, we were saying, well, as of last stream, are we going to break this all-time high? Look at these bull trend bars, very aggressive bars. What are the chances Bitcoin are going to stop and just do nothing and just, not pierce through? At least it was going to at least touch the all-time highs, and we've tagged it. And we also said that the behavior of this leg that we are observing seems awfully similar to the behavior of this leg. Look at these bull trend bars filled all the way to the top. Well, what did Bitcoin do? On Thursday, on April 2021? What it did, it had almost, you could call that an indecision bar, a doji bar, all right? And it reversed. Again, did it reverse on the first entry? No, it did not. We had the first entry, then we had a second entry that did not break above the first entry before we got the start of that bear market. Okay, so similar thing we can see on the higher time frame here. Now, what is Bitcoin about to do? Well, it has a few options. We can either continue and blast off, that's still a possibility, or we can come here, blast down, possibility. Alternatively, it could range around this region for about a month or two, possibility. Okay, what else can Bitcoin do? Well, Bitcoin could mimic what it's already done over here. Could come back for a little bit of a pullback. Don't forget, structure doesn't really change, till around here if we look perhaps on the daily. Retest that high before it decides to come down. Okay, so we have to bear in mind that all of those possibilities are still in play. But all we can do is trade what is in front of us at the moment, and at the moment we have a change in market structure, and I am still in that short, and I'm looking to hold that short in the case that this is the high, in the case this is the major turning point for some downward action over the next week or the next few weeks. All right. Now, as for our next trades, where are our next POIs? Well, we can see Bitcoin is looking to recover. It's recovering a lot of that bar. It's almost at that 50% level, which is showing that it is trying to recover that bar. Is Bitcoin looking to actually retest that high before it drops further down? Well, we'll find out probably tomorrow or next. All right. But in terms of our next trades, what areas are we looking at? Well, we're looking at the moment, it seems as though we are testing that old demand range that we had. We've had a very, very bearish trend bar. We look to be recovering a lot of that bar. Now let's see if we had a trade over here. If we zoom in perhaps to the 10-minute, let's see. So as we come down, we've got lower high, lower low, lower high. Let's get rid of that. Lower low. Okay, so on our 10-minute, we don't really break market structure until we break that level. Let's see what happens on a 5-minute. Now on the 5-minute, our last lower high on the 5-minute is coming at around here. So we won't really be breaking structure until we pass that level. So these are the levels I'm looking out for to see whether we do break above that level. In the case that we reclaim that level, retrace, all right, and I get another reconfirmation up here, I will be looking to at least long this back to the all-time highs. Okay, so I will be looking at that level for a trade, and that's simply based on the fact that we are getting a retest of this old demand range. So that'll be an area that I'm looking for a trade. I'm still in my shorts. I'm not gonna force it. I'm gonna leave that going, and I'm gonna see how that plays out. Now, it's worth saying that Bitcoin has been on this crazy tear up. Look at that. Look at this tear up. So we've had demand range, it did not get mitigated, carried on. We had another demand range, did not get mitigated, carried on. Now we've got lots of inefficiencies over here, lots of fair value gaps, lots of reasons to come down. Remember, easy up, easy down, easy down, easy up. So what does that mean? That suggests that in the case that we don't get any resistance here, in the case that we don't respect this level, it's a very steep and sharp and quick move down. So just be aware that that is a possibility. Perhaps we get a reaction here. In the case we don't respect it here, again, very steep move down. So when Bitcoin is ready to drop, it can drop very quickly. The domino effect can be very rapid. All right. So just as an overview, let's see what my plan is. For those of you looking at this channel just to plan your trades as well, we're watching this old demand zone, or this demand range as you will, and we're looking to see if we get a reaction off of there. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend that all the way across. We're currently at that zone, and we are looking, I'm just going to put this showing that we're looking at the entire zone to see if we can get a reaction. But we are waiting for market structure to break, at least on the 5 minute, to enter on that retracement. And in the case that we do get a reaction there, again, I'm looking at those all-time highs. So I'm looking at this as a new range. So this would be a new range high, range low. And I'm looking to short that all-time high again. All right. So I'm going to put another short order over there. Remember, these aren't limit orders. These are just potential areas that I am interested in. So we're going to set, well, we don't need to set alert for this one because we're already watching it play out. We're going to set an alert up there so that we're in tune and know exactly when this is going to happen. So that's it. That's all our TA for today. There's not much else to talk about, but there is a special giveaway. If you're looking to get some sort of tool to assist your trading, a tool that can help you plan your trade, a tool that can help you journal your trade and track your progress as a trader. Now, being successful at trading, it's very key that you get in the mental framework in order to see your success, in order to grow, in order to tweak what needs tweaking, and be a consistently profitable trader. And that's why I'm giving away something very dear to me, which is my own trade journal. All right, so what we've got here is a journal that lets you track your trade each day. It's simply an Excel sheet or a Google sheet. So all I have to do is send you the link. So if you want access to this, just drop me a message. Don't forget to follow the channel first, and I will send this across to you. This is an excellent way of tracking your trades. And what we've got over here as well, we've got these numbers linked to this chart. So what you can see is your progress as you get on, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. All right, so remember, we're in this for the long run. If you do want access to this, it's completely free. Just remember, drop me a follow, drop me a message, and I will get this right across to you. All right, well, there we have it. We're looking at those levels, and I will see you tomorrow.